much younger, this was a question that was always asked to me. I'm sure all of you have been asked this question. Can I have a show of hands who have been asked this question before? Great. In fact, we are made to write essays, compositions based on what do you want to be when you grow up. And when I was growing up, I wanted to grow up as fast as possible. I wanted to be an adult as fast as possible. So I did a lot of things to make me look like an adult. When I was young, one of the things that I remember I loved doing was always sneaking into my mom's room while she was sleeping, and I'll take her glasses and I'll put it on so that I look more intellectual and look more like an adult. I love wearing glasses, it made me feel like an adult. And my mom would catch me from time to time and say that, "You spoil your eyes, do you know that?" I say, "But I like looking like an adult." I couldn't wait. And my wish was granted in 1996 when I was in primary 2. I had to go for this annual medical checkup by the school, and I was told that I need to start wearing glasses. And I was excited. I was so excited that I finally can wear my own glasses. I don't have to take my mom's glasses. Any of you love wearing glasses? Oh, there's a few. Very good. I love wearing glasses on the first day I got my glasses. After that, it was regret for the rest of my life up until today, and I'm sure it will go on and on for probably the rest of my life. But the other thing that I really wanted to do, speed up this process of being an adult was that I could get a driving license. Who would love to drive here? So my story is like most of you here, I love to drive. And I love to drive not a race car. What I wanted to be was not a race car driver, not an F1 driver. Take a deep breath. This was what I wanted to be. A school bus driver. And this is the exact model of the school bus that took me to school every day when I was in primary school. I wanted to be a school bus driver. I was so fascinated. Right? Every day after school, what I would do is I'll board the school bus and I'll sit behind the school bus driver and I watch him drive. Shift the gear, turn the steering wheel, open the doors for the kids to alight. That was what I really loved doing. And when I went home, after finishing my homework, sometimes I don't even do my homework. I'll jump on my bed, have my pillow in front of me. I'll be seated right in front of the bed, with my pillow right in front of me like a raised platform. I'll have this imaginary steering wheel in front of me. I'll be steering. And I would even make the sounds out and shift the gear. So that was what I did. And in my mind, what was happening was I was going on my school bus route. And I was opening doors, letting students come on board, letting them alight. Sometimes I will act as if I have a bus assistant and tell the bus assistant what to do. So that was what I did. And I love buses. The bigger the bus, the more I loved it. And in 1996, on the same year when I was primary 2, it seems that a lot of things happened on that year. Singapore brought in the bendy bus. I was excited to get on this bus to find out, wow, how does it feel like sitting behind the driver, looking at how he drives this long bus. How does it feel like sitting right at the end of this bus, where it gets even more bumpy than the rest of in the front, in the middle. And then I had this crazy idea. Before there was bendy buses, I was excited going on double-decker buses. And I had this crazy idea that maybe one day they could have a combination of both. A bendy double-decker bus I took this off the internet. I didn't know that someone would visualize this like me. But what really inspired me to be a school bus driver was my dad. But growing up, he didn't drive a very big school bus. It was just a minibus. And why did I want to be a school bus driver like him? Like many people here and across the world, our first heroes are our dads. And I look forward to sitting in his minibus every time we go out. I'll be sitting behind him, again visualizing that I have a steering wheel, I'll steering together with him, visualizing myself driving together with him. And the thing about him was that there is this undying passion that he had for driving, for sending people from point A to point B. He has been doing it for 40 years. The same thing every day, but he's still so passionate about driving students to school. It's like, wow, how does one do the same thing for 40 years and still remain so passionate about it? And I wanted to be like him. So one day, he asked me, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I honestly told him, I want to be a school bus driver, like you, Dad. He told me a big, fat no. He didn't give me any reasons why. I was crushed. I can't be like my dad. I can't be like my hero. I can't do the things that I always wanted to do. And somehow, as I reflected on my life, I started to realize, subconsciously, I gave up on planning for a long period of my life. I was going to school not having an objective at all. I didn't plan what I wanted to do. After PSLE, I was going to secondary school. After going to secondary school, I was just playing around in school. I was playing basketball, playing soccer every day. I hardly focused in school because I didn't know what was beyond school. When I was in Sec 1, I know that I'm going on to Sec 2, and then Sec 3, and then Sec 4, and then O-levels. But I never ever found out what was beyond O-levels. It was only until I had to choose, should I go to a junior college or should I go to a polytechnic, that I started thinking, which path should I take? But I don't know. I didn't have anyone to guide me. I took the easy path, which is to follow what my elder brother did. He went to a polytechnic to study biomedical science. And I did exactly the same thing, the same course, the same school. Well, that's the safe path. Right? If there's anything, I can blame my brother if I didn't do well. You didn't teach me. So it didn't help that my best friend over the years went for the same course. And that was also the time where biomedical science was a sunrise industry. But what many people didn't tell me back then, before I joined the course, was what were the career prospects of being in a science course. As a diploma holder, what I was told, that you can go into to work in labs. And do you know what we do in labs? I was told that with a diploma, you could only wash test tubes. I didn't want to wash test tubes. I believe that my life needs to be more exciting than that. Washing test tubes was too boring for me. And along the way, I also discovered that, science was not really my interest. But knowing that it was not my interest, I didn't continue to plan. I had no outcome in mind. So after my diploma, the next thing that came calling was national service. In my mind, I was thinking, well, my grades are not good enough to get into a local university. Maybe I won't study for a degree. But my parents, they had hopes. They had hopes that I would become a degree holder. So I thought, maybe I'll take the easy route again. I'm open to signing on as a military regular. And that's what I did. I signed on as a military regular in the Air Force. And this was me and my parents putting on my rank on my commissioning parade in 2010. And this was their proudest moment of me, other than my wedding. And while in the military, I was taught this term, VUCA. Have you heard of this term? Volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. Sounds like a huge word. But what it really means is everything in this world right now, you look around you, technology is disrupting us at a fast pace. V for volatile, where you have unexpected challenges. Things can change very quickly. You have uncertain, things are uncertain, where you always lack key information. It's complex, where there are interconnected variables. And lastly, ambiguous. You don't know what's ahead. There's so many unknowns unknown. Sounds scary, isn't it? And a lot of companies nowadays, as you can see, are replacing traditional brick and mortar companies. Huge companies like hotels, they are now losing out to companies like Airbnb, who own no real estate. One other company that has took over our life, Grab. And that started me thinking about my dad again. Would my dad be able to drive Grab one day? Since he's been driving for so long. And I did a comparison. Grab versus conventional private school bus. The thing about Grab is, your passengers every day are VUCA. You don't know what kind of passengers you'll get as a Grab driver. Maybe you take the wrong route, you go through an ERP and somebody scream at you for going through the ERP. They are, in a way, VUCA as well. You don't know what you get. You don't know where you are going, what kind of passenger you are getting. However, for my dad, every day seems to be the same. I have to be at this place at this time. It has to be precise. He would call the parents and tell them, you have to be here at the pickup point at 7:01. Because if you are late, everybody else is going to be late, and we're going to be late for school. And I realized this one thing that he valued a lot. That is predictability. Predictability of what he was going to expect. Predictability throughout his work, throughout his career. And thinking back, that was probably the reason why he was so proud and so happy when I made the choice to sign on as a military regular. Today's theme is Dream, Plan, Do. Well, every part of this theme is important. And today, what we're going to focus on is the planning part, and I'm going to share with you 3 lessons that I learned along my journey. About planning, lesson 1. So, lesson 1 is not about planning or not planning. I think we have already established that. Lesson 1 is about how you plan. A lot of times, we start feeling overwhelmed when there are a lot of things on our plate. And that is because This is me, I drew this on my own. You can see that we are always leaning forward in life. We are always looking for something. Think about it, when you are young, I'm sure most of you would have been lost in a shopping mall, separated from your parents. What do you usually do? It's either one of two, or even a combination of both. The first is you cry to get attention. The second is you go silently looking for your parents. And that is the gist of life in itself. Whenever we are lost, we are always going to look for something. I have never ever seen a kid, when he or she is lost, they just sit down and give up. No, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to sit here and wait for my parents to come and find me. Very little kid, very, very few kids do that. And we are always leaning forward, looking for something. And at that point of time when we were lost as a child, we knew what we were looking for. But what made us really overwhelmed is not knowing what our outcome is. So that's lesson number one. It's not about planning or not planning, it's about how you plan. Because a lot of people have a plan but don't have an outcome. We want clarity from our outcome. Outcome gives us clarity as well. We would know what is it that we are working for. And that plan fits in more easily. This is what we want to be like. Whatever we do, whatever we are chasing, pardon my drawing, we want to be bigger and stronger. We should always aim to be bigger and stronger and better than yesterday. And this was me in the Air Force. This was what I did in the Air Force. I was a UAV pilot, unmanned aerial vehicle. What I did was I flew military drones with a camera at the bottom. It's slightly blocked by my leg, where we do surveillance. I must say, over the years in the Air Force, there were years where I felt like there was no drive for me to do the things that I was doing. I couldn't find the purpose. And in 2013, I started thinking, that was when my contract ended. I was thinking, since 2012, what is it that I want to do when my contract ends? Do I want to leave the service? Do I want to carry on? My answer was leaning towards leaving the service. So what I did was, I had to start preparing myself. What industry do I want to go into? And I asked myself, where is the money at? I'm being very practical. Where is the money at? And back then, the money was in the finance industry. And back then, in 2012, I didn't have a degree yet. So I went on to take a part-time degree while studying. While working, I was studying part-time. I took on a finance degree. And along the way, in the past few years, I've also started reading up on finance and economics. So I thought, I was this very intelligent guy about finance and economics, and I don't think I have much of a problem going into any financial institutions to work. I could start at the bottom, no problem, and that was how confident, or rather, how arrogant I was. So in 2013, around June, I tendered my resignation from the Air Force. I had a 3 months notice period. That means I had to wait 3 months before I could finally leave the Air Force. But I was still pursuing my degree halfway. But this arrogant side of me was telling me, it's no problem finding a job. But in those 3 months, I struggled. I got rejections after rejections. In fact, I only remember going for free interviews. One of which where I had a lot of hope, but they rejected me in the end. And those rejections were not in-your-face rejections. It was not those, no, sorry, you're not suitable for us, we've decided to choose someone else. The rejections were even harsher. They stopped replying to you, despite you pestering them. Those are the worst kind of rejections, where people start ghosting you. And I was in panic mode. I was in crisis mode. It was so bad. I was suffering from a crisis in confidence. I was starting to doubt myself. I could do well in school, but I just didn't have that paper yet. So what I did next was almost unthinkable. I made a tough decision. I went back to my boss and I asked him, I can't find a job outside. Would it be okay if I were to withdraw my resignation? It was a very, very tough decision to make. Mainly because of one thing: ego. And what that taught me was also a headless chicken with a plan that didn't really work. I was just having this outcome where I didn't have a concrete plan at all. And I realized along the way that the journey to be a bigger, stronger me is not a straight line. A lot of times, it's like this. There's lots of ups and downs. In fact, it can get even messier than this. This is me in 2017 after making the transit. So, knowing that there are ups and downs, knowing that I need to plan, I need to have a concrete plan, I started out thinking, reflecting to myself, why? Why is it that I wanted to make the switch out? And the answer that I got previously was because I wanted more money. And that was an extrinsic motivation. So I was looking and I reflected. What I needed was intrinsic motivation. And I started asking myself, what impact is it that I want to make in this world? What is it that I want to do to serve others? And I decided that, I've always loved educating people, loved empowering people. I wanted to be a trainer, where I could tell people what to do as well. It feels good, right? Being able to tell people what to do, being in a position of authority. That was what I wanted to do. So I worked hard towards it. In the next 4 years, while I was still in service, I worked hard towards that goal with one end in mind. I wanted to be a trainer. What I did was every year, I would pay thousands of dollars to go for courses to upgrade myself, to give me the skills that is relevant. I volunteered for experience so that I could one day become a trainer on my own. And in 2017, opportunity came knocking. But it was not for a trainer position. It was for a career coach position with the government. I reflected on it. What was my intrinsic motivation? My intrinsic motivation was empowering people, being able to educate people. And I found that, this is what I want to do. It aligns with what I wanted to do. And I took it with both hands. And I became a career coach where I got the occasional chance to do training. And that made me very happy. I was making tangible impact to the world. I was helping fellow Singaporeans who are out of jobs, who are dejected, bring up their confidence, teach them life skills, employability skills on how they can find a job and stay employable. I love that job so much. And that comes with me lesson 2, where a plan doesn't restrict you. In fact, it gives you more flexibility. A lot of times we think that if we have a plan, we have to stick to the plan. I think we sometimes are too rigid with the plan. I had a plan to be a trainer, but an opportunity came for me to be a career coach with the government, giving me occasional chances of doing training. But at the core of it, what is it that you want to do? At the core of it, what I wanted to do was to educate, to empower people, to inspire people. And that allowed me to do the same, which gave me the flexibility. I was not restricted by my plan. However, that stint, although I loved the job a lot, I was in there for 10 months. This was the last day of my job as a career coach. This photo taken right outside my career center. I love this job a lot. However, I felt that there was more that I could do. There's so much more that I could do. And ironically, or coincidentally, should I say, there was something that my friend pointed this out to me when I posted this on social media on my last day. Say, don't wait for things to happen. Make them happen. Wow. It gave me an added encouragement to pursue what I was doing. And how did I get to this point of leaving this job that I love a lot? It started because I started to embody what I do. As part of my values, I've always believed in practicing what I preach. So when I was seeing people who are unemployed, what I would do, I would tell them, you need to be on social media, on LinkedIn. You need to build a career brand. You need to go out for networking. You need to meet people. You learn from people. And therefore, you might get opportunities. And that's what I did. Because I was in the military like a frog in a well for 9 years. 9 years of military life, I didn't know anybody outside of military. And I needed to get out, to learn more from other people. And I did that. And eventually, opportunity came knocking again. See, opportunity comes knocking when you have a solid plan. That solid plan which continues to allow you to have flexibility. That was what happened to me. And that was how I came to work with my current business partner in a training and coaching business. A marriage of two things that I love doing. And I realized that life is not just about moving on to our next target. It's moving beyond our next target. Life is a journey, it's not a destination. A lot of times we plan for only this one destination. However, we fail to plan for the next destination. We believe that we have arrived at this one destination. Which is why we come to lesson number 3, is that planning is a continuous process. It is a lifelong process. You continue planning for it over and over and over again. And when you fall down, what do? Do you change your goal? Along in life, what will happen is that you will fall down. You will bleed. You will cry. a lot. You will fall and you'll bleed and you'll cry a lot. This is life. However, don't change your goal. You change your plan to fit your goal. Be flexible with your plan. This is a picture of me and my dad. In fact, this was taken just last week. My dad here, he looks a little weak because he was feeling unwell over the past week. In fact, we just discovered that he contracted dengue fever yesterday and he was hospitalized last night. I got to know from my mom at lunchtime yesterday. But guess what? My mom was telling me that my dad is still going to continue driving the kids to school and from school until the end of the day. That was his passion. My dad is a hero and continues to be my hero. His dedication to his work. Well, you can say that he didn't have much of a plan, but this is what we can do for ourselves so that we do not end, so that we can help our parents, help the people around us live better lives. And one story in between that I did not tell was that back then, when I was still lost, after withdrawing my resignation, my mom told me one day, this was when I was still figuring out what I wanted to do, what was my intrinsic motivation. My mom told me that my dad keeps being bullied by my boss. By his boss, not my boss, by his boss. Verbally abusing him. And my dad, being a very kind character, he just took everything in. He doesn't want to rebut because he doesn't want to hurt the relationship. And he wants to continue working for his boss. And as a son, I felt this injustice for him. For a long time, I felt maybe this is my calling to go back into bus driving. And what I did was, I drew up like a business plan, a business proposal, and I went to him, said, Dad, I know you've been driving, I know that you've been bullied, this is what I want to do for you. I told him that since you have so many contacts, and what happened was also that because he was such a kind character, the principal of the schools loved him and want him to be the guy who is in charge of this whole contract of bus driving. They didn't like his boss. But at the same time, he didn't want to spoil relationships. He didn't want to damage the relationship between him and his boss. So I told him, since the principal has offered you this position, let me tell you what, I will work on this business with you and we'll open a school bus driving company where you have good friends who can come together and work together with you. Again, I was shot with a big fat no! I was crushed again. But this time, I asked him, why do you not want me to be in this business? I can make it better for you. I know how to make it better for you. He told me, this is a tough business. This is a business where you have to work for long hours. You are much more highly educated. You should do something more meaningful. This was my dad. wakes up at 4 a.m. every day. When he was much younger, he would still ferry workers to the factories, and then students throughout the day, and then workers from the factory back home. Nowadays, he only ferries students, and I told him that we could do this. I was really, really crushed that he would think that his role was a role that he sees as something that is so low. I did my best to convince him. I didn't succeed. However, as I think back while preparing for this speech, one thing stood out very clearly for me, what I was doing. I was still like my dad, just that it is a different form of transportation. My dad was driving students from home to school. Me, today, in my coaching and my training, I'm helping people from where they are right now to where they want to be. And I am helping them steer their journey in life. This is me. Have a destination in mind. There will be barriers along the way. It's up to you to steer your way around the barriers. Thank you.